My friends, most people live their lives with their eyes fixed outward, on the opinions, the judgments, and the applause of others. They move like leaves in the wind, waiting to be accepted, waiting to be validated. Not. But if you wish to shock the world, you must begin with the simplest yet hardest discipline: focus on yourself. The greatest battles are not fought in arenas, on stages, or in front of crowds. Is not. They are fought in silence, inside the mind. The war is against laziness, against excuses, against the whisper that says, not today. If you can defeat that voice, you have already defeated the loudest enemy you will ever face. Do not waste your energy in constant display. Silence is not weakness. Silence is preparation. The seed does not announce itself when it is buried underground. Not. It quietly gathers strength until one day it breaks through the earth, shocking everyone with its growth. If you truly want to leave people speechless, do not tell them what you are going to do. Show them when the time is right. Build quietly. Train daily. Improve step by step. Let your consistency create a storm so strong that when people see you, they cannot recognize the person they once knew. The shock is not in a single achievement. Not the shock is in the transformation. The moment when you reveal, not by words, but by being, that you have outgrown the expectations placed upon you. And here lies the truth: when you stop chasing attention and instead turn inward. Not when you polish your mind and sharpen your body. When you focus fully on your path, the world has no choice but to notice. Recognition becomes a shadow that follows you. So, do not speak too much. Do not prove too quickly. Work in silence. Grow in discipline. And when the time comes, emerge in such a way that the world is left in awe. Focus on yourself and shock everyone. The inner battlefield is where everything begins and ends. When people speak of competition, they often imagine rivals in front of them, adversaries they must defeat to prove their worth. But in truth, no external opponent is as persistent, as cunning, or as relentless as the one that resides within. This opponent whispers to you when you wake up in the morning. It lingers when you hesitate. It tempts you to take the easier path when you know the harder one is necessary. Not that opponent is your own doubt, your own lack of discipline, your own inability to stay consistent when distractions are plentiful. To understand this battlefield is to understand life itself, because the person who can master the war within no longer needs to fear the world outside. Every morning when you open your eyes, the battle is renewed. The comfort of the bed tries to pull you back. Not. The comfort of routine tries to hold you in place. Discipline does not come naturally. It must be trained, and training requires daily combat with your lesser self. When you feel resistance, that is the moment of battle. Not. Most people surrender in these small moments, but they forget that small losses accumulate. Missing one day of effort seems harmless, but one day becomes two, and two becomes a habit. Before long, is not. You are defeated not by a single great enemy, but by countless small surrenders. That is why the battlefield within is the most dangerous one. You rarely realize you are losing until the war has already been decided. Not. To fight this battle is not to live a life of aggression, but of awareness. You must learn to see your inner patterns clearly. Notice when excuses arise. Listen when fear begins to speak. Observe how your mind invents reasons to delay action. The moment you can see these patterns, you begin to separate yourself from them. You understand that the voice of laziness is not who you are. It is just a passing visitor. Not. You do not need to obey it. On the battlefield of the mind, clarity is your shield and persistence is your sword. With these two, you can stand against every inner storm. There will be days when you lose. Not everyone loses some battles. You may skip the training, you may avoid the work, you may fall into distraction. But what matters is not perfection. What matters is that you return. One lost day does not mean a lost war. Not. The key is to rise again, to renew your commitment. Resilience is what wins in the long run, because even if your enemy strikes you down, as long as you rise again, you remain undefeated. Not. Each return to discipline strengthens your spirit. Each decision to continue sharpens your will. The inner battlefield teaches you that success is not found in avoiding defeat, but in never surrendering to it. Not. The beauty of this fight is that no one else can fight it for you. Coaches, teachers, friends, even mentors can guide you, but the decision to resist your own weakness belongs only to you. Not. This is why those who master themselves shine so brightly. They walk a path others cannot walk on their behalf. It is also why their victories shock the world. Most people never win the war within, and so they remain average, comfortable, ordinary. When someone rises above, when someone conquers their mind and body, the transformation appears extraordinary. But in truth, it is simply the result of winning small battles every single day. Imagine a warrior training in silence. No audience, no applause, just repetition, just practice, just confrontation with his own limitations. From the outside, it may seem as if nothing is happening. But inside, strength is building, clarity is forming, resilience is solidifying. And then one day the warrior steps into the world and everyone is shocked. Not because he suddenly became strong, but because they never saw the battles he fought each day in silence. That is the essence of the inner battlefield. Its victories are invisible until the transformation is undeniable. If you can conquer yourself, you need not conquer anyone else. If you can command your mind, distractions lose their power. If you can master your body, comfort no longer dictates your choices. And when that mastery becomes visible, when you move through life with calm strength and quiet certainty, the world will wonder how you achieved it. The truth is simple. You won the only battle that ever truly mattered, the one within. Silence is misunderstood in the modern world. Many believe silence is emptiness, avoid a lack of activity or expression. Yet silence is not absence. It is presence. It is not weakness. It is strength in its purest form. Silence is where true growth happens because it removes the noise of distraction and forces you to face yourself. When you learn to value silence, you begin to understand that progress does not require constant announcements, achievements do not need constant validation, and strength does not demand recognition. Real power matures quietly, like a seed beneath the soil, unseen by others but unshaken in its purpose. When you are silent in your journey, you conserve energy that would otherwise be wasted on explanations or justifications. The more you speak about what you will do, the less energy you have left to actually do it. This is why many people remain stuck. They spend their time talking, showing, seeking approval instead of building. Silence protects you from this trap. It allows you to work without the burden of expectation. It allows you to move without being restrained by others' opinions. In silence, there is freedom to fail, to experiment, to fall and rise again. Because no one is watching and judging. In that private space, growth becomes authentic. Silence also teaches humility. When you resist the urge to prove yourself, you discover that your worth does not depend on the recognition of others. You stop performing for applause and begin working for mastery. This is a subtle but profound shift. Applause is temporary, but mastery endures. If you chase applause, you will always be restless because the crowd is fickle. If you chase mastery, your progress is steady because it is rooted within. Silence removes the need for external confirmation and replaces it with an inner compass. You no longer ask, did they see me? But instead, did I improve? Think of the mountains. They do not announce their growth, yet they rise. Think of the tree. It does not shout while its roots deepen, yet when the storm comes, its silence becomes its strength. You must learn to live like this, developing in quiet, not allowing your actions to become your voice. When the time is right, the results will speak louder than any words ever could. And that voice, born of silence, will echo far longer than 1,000 empty promises. There is also a kind of discipline in choosing silence. The world encourages constant exposure. Share every detail, broadcast every move, display your progress. It is tempting to join this chorus, but each time you do not, you weaken the intimacy between you and your journey. The moment you reveal your efforts prematurely, you invite doubt, comparison, and unnecessary pressure. Silence shields you from this. It gives you space to grow privately, so when you finally reveal what you have built, it is undeniable. Silence then is not passive. It is strategic. People may underestimate you when you are silent. They may believe you are idle or weak. Let them. Their assumptions are not your concern. In fact, being underestimated is a gift, for it lowers expectations and allows you to prepare without interference. One day when your transformation becomes visible, the very silence they mistook for weakness will be revealed as the ground of your strength. That is when shock enters. People are not shocked when you speak of what you will do. They are shocked when you appear transformed without warning, when your results emerge suddenly as if from nowhere. But you will know the truth. Nothing happens overnight. It was silence that hid your effort until the moment it was ready to be seen. Even in relationships, in leadership, in every form of human interaction, silence carries power. The one who can remain silent does not need to prove themselves. Their presence alone speaks. In silence, you observe more, you listen more, and therefore you understand more. Most conflicts are fueled by words. Most mistakes are born of noise. Silence allows clarity to arise, and clarity is the foundation of wise action. So do not fear silence. Embrace it, train in it, allow it to shape you. While the world is distracted by noise, is not. You will be gathering strength. While others scatter their energy trying to be seen, you will be building in secret. And when the time comes, your silence will erupt into presence, not. And your growth will speak in a way no words ever could. To grow in silence is to prepare a surprise for the world, and the surprise is not what you have done, is not, but what you have become. Consistency is often underestimated because it does not appear dramatic. It is not as exciting as sudden breakthroughs, not as impressive as bold declarations. Consistency looks ordinary from the outside, not waking up early, repeating the same practice, keeping promises to yourself when no one is watching. Yet within these ordinary actions lies extraordinary power. What you do once may bring attention, not, but what you do daily shapes your destiny. Consistency is the invisible architect of transformation, the quiet force that builds strength brick by brick until the structure of your life is unshakable. Many people begin with enthusiasm but falter when the excitement fades. They crave quick results, immediate recognition, instant reward. But life does not bend to impatience. Seeds take time to root, not. Muscles take time to strengthen, minds take time to sharpen. It is not intensity alone that creates greatness, but sustained effort. Even a small drop of water falling consistently will carve stone over time. This is why consistency is greater than noise, because noise is temporary, but steady action endures. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you are making a small deposit into your future. These deposits may seem insignificant in the moment, but accumulated over weeks, months, years, they compound into undeniable results. The challenge is that you rarely see immediate returns. That is why most people give up, is not. They mistake the absence of quick progress for failure. In truth, the progress is happening beneath the surface, quietly, invisibly. Consistency demands trust in this unseen process. You must believe that every repetition, every effort, every choice matters, even when the results are not yet visible. Consider the sculptor who chisels a block of stone. One strike does not reveal the statue. 100 strikes may still show nothing but rock. Yet with persistence, the form begins to appear. Was it the final strike that created the statue? No. It was every strike before it, patiently and consistently applied. Life is the same. The breakthrough moment, not the transformation that shocks everyone, is never the result of one act, but of countless small, consistent actions stacked together. Consistency also teaches humility. It is easy to perform with passion for a short time, not, but to return again and again, especially when no one notices, requires a deeper commitment. Each day you repeat your practice, you are proving to yourself that your goals are not fragile desires, but firm intentions. Not. And that proof builds confidence, not the shallow confidence born of compliments, but the quiet confidence born of knowing you can rely on yourself. Others may betray you, circumstances may change, not. But consistency means you remain steady, rooted in your discipline. Noise, on the other hand, is deceptive. Words can be loud, announcements can be bold, but they vanish quickly if not supported by consistent action. People may applaud when you declare your intentions, but applause fades if you cannot back it with results. This is why consistency is louder than words. It speaks without needing to speak. Not, it builds a reputation that cannot be faked because time exposes truth. Anyone can shine briefly, only consistency proves who you truly are. There will be days when consistency feels heavy. Days when fatigue whispers to you, not when progress feels invisible, when distractions seem more tempting than discipline. Those are the days that matter most because consistency is measured not when it is easy, but when it is difficult. Not. To continue in the face of resistance is to strengthen your will. Each time you overcome that resistance, you make the next effort easier. In this way, consistency is self-reinforcing. The more you practice it, the stronger it becomes until it transforms from a burden into a natural rhythm of your life. The world often celebrates talent, but talent without consistency is wasted. A spark without fuel burns briefly and dies. Not consistency provides the fuel that keeps the fire alive. Even the most ordinary person, armed with steady effort, will surpass the most gifted person who lacks discipline. This is why consistency is a greater force than talent, not louder than promises and more powerful than noise. In the end, consistency does not just shape your results, it shapes you. Each repeated action molds your character. Each fulfilled commitment strengthens your identity. You begin to see yourself differently, not as someone who tries, but as someone who persists. And when you carry this identity, success becomes inevitable. Others may be surprised by your progress, not. They may be shocked by your transformation, but you will know it was no sudden miracle. It was the quiet, patient power of consistency, not speaking louder than any words could. Transformation is the greatest surprise you can give to the world. Most people remain as they are year after year, repeating the same routines, carrying the same limitations, not living within the same boundaries that were handed to them by society, family, or their own doubts. Because change is rare, it is shocking when it happens. Not. Transformation is not simply altering an external appearance or achieving a single goal. It is a deep shift in how you live, how you think, how you move through the world. Not. The shock comes not because you have done something flashy, but because you have become someone different from who people believed you could be. The reason transformation shocks others is simple. Most people do not expect it from you. They expect you to stay predictable, to remain confined within the identity they have built for you in their minds. If you were lazy once, they expect you to remain lazy. If you failed once, they expect you to continue failing. People rarely update their image of you, and so when you rise above those expectations, you confront them with something they cannot easily explain. Suddenly, not the version of you they knew no longer exists, and this dissonance leaves them in awe. But transformation is not born in a single moment of brilliance. It is a process often long and quiet, built on the small battles won within yourself, built on the discipline of showing up even when no one is watching, built on the humility of working in silence. The seed of transformation grows underground first, invisible, not unnoticed. Only later does it break through the surface. To the outside world it may look sudden, but you will know it was years in the making. That is why transformation shocks. It appears sudden, not, but it is the result of a long, unseen struggle. True transformation is also uncomfortable. It requires shedding old habits, breaking old patterns, and letting go of the identity that feels familiar. Not people cling to comfort because change demands pain and uncertainty. To transform is to walk through discomfort willingly, to face the resistance of your own mind, to persist when it feels easier to return to who you were. Not. This courage is rare, and that rarity is what makes transformation powerful. It is not given to you, it is forged through deliberate choice again and again. When you transform, you do not need to announce it. Others will notice. Is not. They will notice the calm in your presence, the strength in your actions, the discipline in your habits. They will notice that the old version of you is gone, replaced by someone they did not expect. Not. That silent revelation is the real shock. You do not prove it with words, you prove it by existing differently. And when you embody this change fully, there is nothing anyone can say to deny it. Not. Your presence alone becomes evidence. Transformation also teaches you detachment from validation. At first, you may crave recognition for your growth, but as you continue, you realize the value is not in shocking others, but in shocking yourself. The greatest surprise is not what the world sees, but what you discover within yourself, that you are capable of far more than you imagined. When you reach that realization, the opinions of others lose their weight. The transformation becomes its own reward. Still, the shock to others carries meaning, not because you owe them proof, but because your transformation becomes a mirror. It reflects back to them the possibilities they have ignored in themselves. When they see you change, they are confronted with the reality that change is possible for anyone, including them. Some will admire you, is not. Some will resent you, but either way, your growth will not leave them indifferent. Transformation disturbs comfort, and that disturbance is what creates shock. And so, not the greatest way to surprise the world is not to chase attention, not to seek applause, but to walk the quiet path of personal evolution. Every day you rise, you build, you improve, you fight your inner battles. And in time the person you become will be unrecognizable compared to who you once were. That is the true shock, not a temporary achievement, but a complete transformation of being. When the day comes, and the world finally sees who you have become, they will call it sudden. They will call it a miracle. But you will know the truth. It was not sudden. It was not magic. It was the patient, painful, beautiful process of transformation earned through discipline, silence, and self-mastery. And in that moment, the shock will not belong only to them. It will also belong to you, as you look in the mirror and realize you have outgrown even your own expectations. The journey always begins with looking outward. We compare ourselves with others, measure our worth through their approval, chase recognition as if it were the highest prize. This is the natural way most people live, seeking to belong, seeking to be noticed, seeking to matter in the eyes of the world. But there comes a time when you realize that this endless pursuit is a circle that leads nowhere. No matter how much attention you gain, it slips away. No matter how much validation you receive, it is never enough. The circle keeps you chasing shadows. The only way to break free is to turn the circle inward, to focus not on the world, but on yourself. When you begin to master yourself, the chase for recognition fades. Not. You no longer run behind applause or approval. Instead, you invest your energy in sharpening your own mind, strengthening your own body, and disciplining your own actions. The transformation begins within. Not you polish yourself in silence, and you grow not because others are watching, but because growth itself becomes your purpose. This inner focus creates a kind of strength that is unshakable because it does not depend on what anyone else gives or withholds. Ironically, the moment you stop seeking recognition is the moment it begins to come. Not recognition is like a shadow. It follows you when you move forward with purpose, but it disappears when you chase it directly. People notice those who no longer need to be noticed. They are drawn to those who radiate strength from within, those who live with discipline, those who embody calm confidence. Such people do not demand attention, they command it without effort. This is the circle returning inward. Not once you no longer crave the external begins to flow toward you. Mastering yourself is not about controlling every circumstance, because life will always bring challenges, uncertainty, and change. Not. It is about controlling your responses, your habits, your focus. When anger arises, you choose calm. When laziness tempts you, you choose discipline. When distraction calls, you return to your path. Not. Each of these choices may seem small, but together they shape the essence of who you are. Over time, you stop being reactive to the world around you and begin to move from a place of centered strength. The circle that once pulled you outward into noise now becomes a circle of mastery within you. Others will notice the difference. They may not understand it, but they will feel it. They will see that you do not bend easily, not that you do not crave their approval, that you move with quiet certainty. This unsettles some, inspires others, but either way it cannot be ignored. Recognition begins to chase you not because you sought it, but because people are naturally drawn to self-mastery. In a world where most are lost in distraction, the one who is focused stands out without trying. But the true gift of this inward circle is not the attention of others. It is the peace you find within yourself. You no longer measure your progress by applause. You no longer fear being unseen. You live by your own standards, guided by your own discipline, grounded in your own purpose. This is freedom to walk your path without needing constant confirmation, to know your worth without waiting for others to declare it. The world will always have opinions, but once you master yourself, those opinions lose their power. You no longer need to argue or defend. Your actions, your growth, your presence speak for you. Recognition becomes effortless because it is no longer the goal. The goal is mastery, and mastery is endless. It is a journey, not a destination. So the circle always returns inward. At first you look outside and hope the world will notice you. Then you turn inward and you notice yourself. You sharpen your edges, you polish your core, you build your strength. And then without asking, the world begins to notice. Recognition follows, but it no longer controls you. The shadow chases you, but you do not chase the shadow. This is the paradox. The less you seek it, the more it comes. And by then, you are no longer shocked by the recognition. You are steady, calm, ready. It is the world that stands in shock, wondering how you became what you are, while you simply continue the journey within.